There was a young lady I was talking to, and we were talking about sponsorships. I said, what's the biggest sponsorship you've ever had? She said, 15,000. I said, what's the most you ever asked for? She said, 25. I said, why don't you just raise the rate? I said, go and do something crazy. Put 50,000 out there. She called me back about 2 weeks later and just had tears, and she said, you're not going to believe this. She said, not only did we sell the 50,000, but we got three $25,000 sponsors. I want to move kind of into some practical stuff with it.
Yeah, I was going to get in the nuts and bolts.
We said we're going to give show you how to raise an extra $25,000 to $50,000. So I just love putting you on the spot because you always have such good stuff. Amy, what are the top three things that you tell a team whenever you say, look, we need to raise an extra $25,000 to $50,000 in sponsorships and underwriting this year for an event? What are the things that you guys see are the top performers to move that? I have some ideas, but I'd like to hear what you guys are practically doing in the field.
I mean, our go-to, I mean, and I feel like I'm being repetitive, is we go back to our committee, we go back to our network, and we have conversations about who do we know, who did we miss, who told us no a couple years ago, but we need to go back to them because sometimes it takes a long time to get a yes, I mean,
no means no right now.
no,
Not forever.
yeah. So, I mean, I would say we don't do anything fantastic and great and out of the box other than we just revisit and go back to the basics. Who's already involved? We also have conversations with our existing, we have conversations with a company that gave $10,000 and say, hey, we appreciate this 10,000. There's some research that we want to continue to fund, and can you give 15,000 this year? So I mean, that's probably our number one, is we go to the existing and ask for more because they can say no. And then just having those conversations with the committee, who are we missing, let's rebuild that prospect list. I think that's a continuing, like, building your committee, building that target list is an ongoing thing, and refreshing it, and then going back to people that maybe supported in the past and haven't for a few years. Can we bring them back? Going back to people that said no, and can we get a yes out of them? So, I mean, I think there's a lot of different routes that we go.
Well, one of the simplest levels that I've found whenever working with nonprofits and seeing the success that happens is to raise your rates, raise the level that you're asking for, raise your sponsorship levels.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I want to hear Amy.
Yeah.
Yes. But I guess for me, like, why I didn't say that is we automatically do that every other year anyway. Like, regardless if we want to.
This is where this.
Well,
so it's. I knew that. I knew that you do that because we've talked about it. So that reason I said that. Because
is everyone hearing that?
I see people, they're still raising, they're using, I said, well, what's your top level table? They go, $5,000. What was it last year? $5,000. What was the year before? $5,000.
Yeah.
And there's so much more headroom, there's a lot more money in the system now. Inflation's happened.
No question.
It's realistic. Everything in the world's going up. Your costs are going up. So you need to raise your rates up. Okay. You need to raise those numbers up. And one of the things, this was a really interesting thing. There was a young lady I was talking to, and we were talking about sponsorships. I said, what's the biggest sponsorship you've ever had? She said, 15,000. I said, what's the most you ever asked for? She said, 25. Okay. I said, why don't you just raise the rate? I said, go and do something crazy. Put 50,000 out there. She goes, why? She goes, well, what's it going to hurt? If somebody doesn't do it, so what? You're not going to you're not going to put a published diamond $50,000 sponsor, no takers. You're not going to do that. So I said, it does if you don't ask. She called me back about 2 weeks later and just had tears, and she said, you're not going to believe this. She said, not only did we sell the 50,000, but we got three $25,000 sponsors because we changed the way we asked. Because what happened was people started seeing that event in the different light. They started going, wow, things must be going on. Perception is reality. And the perception is, wow, these guys are growing. Well, the reality was that they were growing because people reacted to it. But if you don't ask, you will not receive.
Hey everybody, Trevor here with a friendly reminder to make sure that you, 1, hit the notification bell, also subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave us a comment, a question. Hope you're enjoying the episode. Thanks so much.
And Amy said something about going back. I love this thing where you go, who are your biggest fans? Who are the people that have the most invested in your organization? And the people that I see ignored time and time again are the people that give the largest financial donations. And the reason is because of fear. Well, I'm afraid I'm going to say the wrong thing and Amy's going to get mad and not going to donate to me this year.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely the opposite.
They're the ones that want to be asked about everything. They're your biggest investors.
Don't let fear get in the way, because that's all it is. 99.9% of the time, they're going to be excited that you ask them.
Yes, they want
Because
to
they're
be
going to
involved.
say, "Oh, you don't just want to check, you want to hear what I think. You
Yes.
want my help.
They've
Okay,
earned it
I'm
as well,
in."
though. They've earned it as well.
When you go back to them and you're having the conversation, hey, you guys did 10,000 last year. Well, last year we sent 100 kids to camp. This year we want to send 150. Would you be willing to do an additional 5 kids? That'd be 15,000. Things like that, having the conversation, bringing it back to the mission over and over and over and over and over again. Mission drive, not give them another table. I think one of the silliest things in the world I've ever seen is somebody said, well, we're going to give them 3 tables. I'm like, why? You just gave them 3 headaches. They probably didn't even do it because they don't want 3 tables.
Ugh.
Amy, just hit on this real quick. More money does not mean more tables, right?
It's probably the number one thing. I have 22 people on my team, and I have 7 of them that are just in the golf gala space. And it's probably the number one thing I say to them is more people in the room is not growing your event. Growing your event for us is we want to see 10% year over year. I'd rather go 10% and have less people in the room and keep my expenses down, which is part of the reason we don't sell 10 top tables anymore. We sell 8 top. Because guess what? If people buy a table of 10, they have a hard time filling it with 10. So next thing you know, you've got these people, they're eaters and drinkers. They're not bidders. I don't want eaters and drinkers. I want bidders. So I'd rather have a table of 8 people that are going to come spend money than have a table of 10 with 2 or 3 that are just there to drink.
Okay,
let
me ask a follow-up.
Yeah, I want to segue this. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I want to ask a follow-up just to this point.
Please.
But what would you do if somebody was a $25,000 sponsor and they said, hey, Amy, can we get another table?
I would have a conversation with them about the importance of making sure that we are filling the room with people that are there for it and understand that it's a charity event. We have conversations with what we, our table lead or your, table captain or the head of the committee, whoever it is that is your main communicator that you're having these conversations with. We have very open conversations that this is a charity event and we don't want to just fill the room with people that are going to eat and drink. We want to fill the room with people that are going to come and spend money and support our mission. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's uncomfortable sometimes, but I don't think it's a bad thing to have conversations with your committee and your big supporters that it's a charity event and we're here to raise money. And
I think your point is really good, Amy, because it's a conversation. Because if they go, look, I'm a banker and I've got 16 people, I got 8 board members that I want to bring and their spouses. Yeah, okay.
Board members,
we got people that have a checkbook, they can write a check. Yes, we want to do that.
Right.
But a lot of times they're asking, well, what else do I get? Do I get another table? Am I going to get a cheese tray? Well,
Famous
no,
cheese
not
tray.
really. Okay. Yeah, the famous cheese tray. But it's not about what they get. It's about what they give into.
It's not transactional.
And it's
Yeah, it
doing
sounds
that.
so cliche
But
to
what
say,
I'm,
but it's not
my
transactional.
point to all that is you can always add something to it, but you can never take away. Once you said, well, you get with a $50,000 sponsorship, you get 3 tables. I can tell you, even if I had the capacity to write a $50,000 check and not do it, and they said 3 tables, I would balk at the 3 tables because I know what it's like filling 1 table.
Yeah.
It's hard because, we've all done this. That's why you guys always want, all of you professional fundraisers out there, you're wondering why everybody waits to the last minute to give you the stuff on their table because they don't know. Because somebody said yes, then they said no, and then I got to find a replacement couple, and they don't want to just bring anybody because they got to have the right deal.
I could not agree more. I have found that a sponsor would rather have their logo put on a sign in the room before they would rather have another table.
Okay, yep.
Which brings us to
I really, really want to ask this question.
Yeah.
How do you segue that interest? There's table fatigue, there's event fatigue. It doesn't matter the market, it doesn't matter. A lot of these folks are filling 10 tables a year or what have you, and they're like, I don't want to buy another table. The opposite of what we were just talking about when someone asks you for 3, if they're, I'm sponsoring at $25,000 level. How do you segue that table fatigue or event fatigue into an underwriting opportunity? Give us an example, both of you, please.
I mean, I think you answered your own question. You have a conversation and say, hey, I understand that, you don't want to fill the table, but we have an opportunity where you can still support the event and, help us fulfill our mission and not even have to worry about filling a table. I mean,
and they can underwrite what, Jay? Like, give us an example. What
So let's just talk about underwriting for a second. Let me give you a segue to it. And believe me, all the questions on here we want to get to them.
We're getting to them.
There's a place probably we can tie it in, so we'll come back to those things. On underwriting. So when we're talking about the underwriting underwriting portion. We're talking about something that doesn't have a ticket. So it could be the check-in, the check-out, the red carpet. It could be the centerpieces, the drink of the night.
Stage.
It could be the
Step or
stage, the sound,
B,
the water
bathroom
closet, the
doors.
refreshing stations,
Do you hear? Do you hear all this, everybody? Do you hear
anything
this
that costs
myriad
you
of
money
things?
or doesn't cost you money is an underwriting opportunity. And the way that you do is you get a list of everything. We'll put one in the link when we send this out tomorrow. We'll get you. We've
Give
got
us
a
some
list
examples.
that we send
Yeah,
out, and
yeah.
it's just some suggested prices. Use your own pricing. We can, if you want to sign up for coaching, we can talk about it more. It's fine. What you're doing is you're having an alternative, because the way this works, this is why this works so well. I love it, because how many times do you call somebody and I go, hey, Trevor, September 9th, there's a big event, and we'd love for you to come be a sponsor. Trevor says, what?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Jason, I'm going to be out of town that week.
I'm going to be out of town, man.
Hey, man, it's not a
I'm doing my
problem.
thing.
Hey, I completely understand. I've got a great opportunity. I'm going to send you some stuff right now. That way you guys could help us underwrite it. You don't even have to show up, okay?
We're going to have your name all in lights. It's going to be awesome. You're going to sponsor the audio
think about the
visual.
ones. I had a guy. I had a guy that works for a utility, very large public utility. He said, we have to give money to these events. Tell me what I can do besides buying a table. I don't want to buy a table. I have to do 12 a year.
So common.
12, one a month. He goes, I'm sick of buying a table because I got to fill it up, because I cannot just have a sign there that has our company name on it without people there. And I don't want to just give away the tickets. We're like, underwrite. Pick something that you want to underwrite and just tell them, say, you know what, I really don't want to do that, but I want to underwrite this. Banks are a great example. Everybody wants to go get a bank. Banks are the world's worst. Unless you have a relationship with the president of the bank or the CEO of the bank, and they're one of the C-suite, and they're going to bring the board members and the C-suite with them, and they're going to spend some money.
And their biggest clients and all that.
What are they going to do with the tickets? They're going to go out and they're going to hand them out to the tellers and the people that work in the office that don't have any money, and say, hey guys, here's the deal. You can go get free drinks and dinner.
For the record, my mom was a teller, and we didn't have any money growing up. We love tellers, but that's not the point.
Well, it's just the reality. They don't, and they're not going to have. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to get people that can move the needle, that have some capacity to give.
Amy said something very, very interesting about 10 minutes ago, where she said, I'd rather have an event with less people. That's why we took our tables from 10 to 8. I'd rather have an event with less people, with more folks that are willing to give in the room. My costs are down. I've maximized the sponsorship. I've maximized the underwriting opportunities, because I started selling the underwriting opportunity for the bathroom and the stage and the sign in the room that someone got more excited about than filling a table. I think that's a really great approach, and it sounds like I'm going really wide lens with that, but that can't be wrong. That's a really, really smarter, not harder approach, especially being very, very detailed about the people in the room. I think that those are difficult conversations to have, as you both have mentioned, and everyone that's had these, or wanted to have conversations that's on here right now, are going to be watching as recording, has faced before. It's necessary.
Well, we talk about this all the time. What does our client want? If you're a professional fundraiser and you're trying to raise money, well, that donor's your client, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I understand in the vernacular, these are our donors and our supporters, and our clients are the people we serve. But in this case, I want you to think about your donor. What do they want? Not as what do they want from your event. What do they want out of life?
Great call.
Okay?
Great call.
Who are they? If the people that you're wanting to attract are, have wealth, have significant capacity to give, they're probably not flying on Southwest. Then maybe they are. I don't mean to do that one. But people that have capacity want exclusivity. People that want capacity, they don't want to miss out on where the stuff is, where it's happening.
They want to be engaged as well.
Small events. I've got a friend that she's now retired. Well, she retired from being a longtime executive director, CEO, and then she is back in as a temp. But they had an event with 50 people. 50 people and raised $150,000. Very low
detailed.
overhead.
Right.
Versus they do another event. They raise a lot of money. Their main gala. But she said, holy smoke! She goes, it was so much fun, and everybody loved it. All the people that came had a great time. They really enjoyed themselves. It was a simple event, and they put it all out there. So
I think there's something special about a smaller, intimate event, because the reality is a lot of these companies that are coming to these events, yes, they're supporting our mission, but they also want to network. Their business, if you have the right people in the room, they're business people and they want to network. And being able to have that small, intimate space where they can network and they can talk to people, and not at the end of the night be like, there was 300 people there and I wanted to talk to this person and I never got to it. So I think there's really something special about having that small, intimate event that actually is very appealing to companies.
More isn't always more. You're absolutely
well, I can
correct.
tell you more is not more. There's an event, an organization that I'm used to actually serve on the board of, and in the last few years, their events got bigger and bigger and bigger. They went from having 400 people to having 600 to 700 people, and their net raise actually went down because number one, they were
many people.
they were just trying to get more people in the building, thinking that was going to be the fix, and it's not. You know, more is not always more. Sometimes more is less, and it's a lot easier to manage. And all you know, and Amy can tell you, you know, it's a lot easier to manage a crowd of 100 than it is of 500.
No
to
question.
plan for, to set up everything.
And Jason, you said something that I think is a word that I really like, that I think is a big seller. You mentioned exclusive. It's amazing how putting exclusive in parentheses behind a sponsorship, how much money you can get out of it. When a company feels like they're exclusive,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Massive.
That word has it has a lot of pull in the gala world.
Well,
I love
and
that.
exclusive, you know, hey Amy, it's Jason. We're doing a fundraiser. We've got our deal, and I'm offering you the red carpet this year, exclusive to you, before I offer to anybody else. But if you don't get it, I'm going, you know, because I know you're the Chevy dealer, okay?
Hatfield
And
McCoy.
if you don't do it, I'm going to the Ford dealer and offering it to them next. I mean, all these things happen because they want that exclusivity. They want to have they want to feel that.
Totally.
And you know, everybody starts thinking it's a dollar value. The money's not the issue. They've got money, okay? That's not the issue. It's about what's it going to do, how's it going to position. There is a quid pro quo there. I mean, you know, that's why I love the red carpet. It's worth $5,000-$6,000 usually if people are showing up, because all of a sudden everybody's going to take a picture and their logo's going to be there on every one of them.
Yep.
Wow, what a great advertising deal.